There is a lot that is going on in today's real estate market that's causing some buyers and sellers to have cold feet. I am sure you're wondering whether now is a good time to sell or buy, or whether you should wait, and maybe even wait till next year. I'm going to address those concerns and maybe, hopefully, help get your plans back on track. And if you're ready, well, let's get started. Hello, this is Ric Miller, and I am a Realtor. Thank you for watching my Jodeco Properties YouTube channel. I know buying and selling real estate is expensive, and because of that, it's pretty intimidating. But I think I can help alleviate those anxieties by providing you with information that will help reduce those potential costs. And by making you a more confident buyer and seller, you can also make the better decisions for you and your family. Lately, I've been getting a lot of questions from clients who are interested in buying and or selling, but are afraid to jump in the market as a result of our current economic climate. So let's get right to those questions I'm asked most often and address those fears most all buyer and sellers are experiencing, and help get you and them back on track towards realizing your real estate purchasing and selling goals. Number one, is there a housing bubble? I see no indication of a bubble, and certainly nothing like what was previously experienced. All too often people I speak to try and compare today's most recent market, the market that we're in now, to the crash of 2008. The current conditions are different from what was experienced back in 2007 and 8. If you look at the types of mortgages that were issued prior to the bubble bursting, you can see that we were headed for a crash. Back then, some people got approved with nothing down. 100% loan to value, no income verification, no asset verification, and credit scores as low as 580. And that's what really caused the housing bubble and subsequently led to the recession. I remember at the time I was flipping houses and wondering how some of those buyers could afford the houses that I was selling. But at the time, I just shrugged my shoulders and moved on. I just assumed that somebody else knew better than I did. I could also get money to buy those houses on pretty much just a signature. And if I needed to see the house appraised at a certain level so I could pull some money out to cover my expenses, that was never a problem. Can't do that anymore. Our current market situation is very different. First of all, the days of the no-doc loan is a thing of the past. In order to get a loan today, the mortgage broker wants to know everything about you, including your blood type. And it doesn't matter if this is your first home or you've bought four in the past and you've got an excellent portfolio. Still has to be documented. Today, appraisers are locked up pretty tight. I can no longer contact an appraiser direct to appraise a piece of property for me and think that the bank is going to be okay with that. Now appraisers are managed under an entirely different set of circumstances in an entirely different system. During the recession of 2008, inventory exceeded the demand once the bubble burst. But in this market, the inventory is way lower than the demand. So long as there is more demand than there are available homes to purchase, the market will remain stable. Now, stay with me. Question number 4 is an excellent question. I was saving the best for last. So I think you'll like that. So stay with me here. Is there a recession coming? Yes. A recession is on the horizon. At least I think so. But that's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to real estate. Typically when we have a recession, that requires the Federal Reserve to increase rates to reverse inflation. When that happens, there is no indication that I have received up until this point in time or read anything from any economist that subsequently that mortgage interest rates are going to exceed 7%. Which, by the way, coming from my era of home buyer, first-time home buyer, is still very, very low. But here's what history has also taught us. In each previous recession, mortgage rates came down, and I think the same thing will happen here. If you look further down the road, if you were to buy today at the current interest rates, I think there's a pretty good opportunity to refinance it at a lower rate after 1 year. How low that rate comes down to, 4%, 3.75, 3% is hard to say. However, there is a pretty good bet that they will come down to a level that will be more attractive than what we are seeing today. Now, you might be sitting there thinking that, well, I'll just sit and wait for those interest rates to drop before I make a move. I'm going to address that line of thinking here in a moment, so bear with me. And by the way, in my opinion, we have been a little bit spoiled with interest rates that we have been experiencing for the past 18 months to 2 years, especially compared to what was otherwise experienced in the 90s or even in the 2000s, for that matter. Will we see those kind of rates again? I've been given no indication of that, but if it does happen, you better jump on the bandwagon now. And contrary to what many buyers may think, housing values typically increase during a recession. So even if homes are appreciating at a bit slower during a recession, at least they're still appreciating. In our last 9 recessions, home values have gone up during 8 of them, and they went up a lot after each of the 8 of 9 recessions. The one anomaly was when we had the housing bubble in 2007 and 2008. Because home values often still increase during a recession and mortgage rates come down. It's harder for the real estate market to lose money or lose value the way that it did in 2008. Overall, the housing market is stable, even as inflation drives up prices. Number 3, and I hear this a lot. Inflation is too high. I won't be able to afford to buy a house right now. Let's look at it this way. We all know interest rates are driven by inflation, correct? So this means that when interest rates increase, it's because of inflation moving up. Okay, so there is too much money available in the economy right now. Subsequently, there are too many dollars available to purchase too few products. So as real estate is concerned, there were too many dollars available to purchase too few properties. This is why prices went up so fast. In today's market, prices are also increasing because of supply chain disruptions, such as chip shortages, fuel cost, and the unfortunate Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And the world is still recovering from the disruption associated with the pandemic caused. All of these factors cause a loss of buying power and a drop in the standards of living for everyone. No doubt things are very, very tough right now, all the way around. However, purchasing a home now means buyers, and hear me clearly when I say this, mortgage payments will stay the same year over year, whereas renters might get slapped with rental increases each year as inflation or appreciation increases. Plus, your mortgage becomes easier to manage as your income increases. And I promise you, you don't want to be near the end of your work life and still renting, because it is inevitable. Those rent payments will increase and will far exceed today's mortgage rates, whatever it might be. I'm not saying home affordability is easy right now. It's not. But what I am saying is, it is not as bad as you think. And although home prices have gone up, on average roughly 18% over the past year, mortgage rates have only increased on average 3% over the last year. Really, this is a positive sign. If home prices are appreciating, as history shows that they normally do, and as your income also increases, which it will, higher home prices are easier to manage. But here's the other part of this point that is even more positive. If home prices appreciate as they normally do, and your income increases as it normally would, your mortgage payments will remain consistent and eventually end, whereas your rent payments will not remain consistent and will not end. And the big question, oh, and by the way, don't forget, check my notes, my description, and in there are free real estate buyer and seller guides. So just to make a note. Number 4, the big question I get is, will my house be worth less in the next few years? I get this particular question from sellers and buyers that are in the market looking all the time. This is a great question, and it gets right to the heart of the fear. Given home values over the last 50 years versus what is anticipated in the future, the simple answer is no. Most homes aren't likely to lose value. The demand for housing will continue to grow from people who will be looking for their first home in the next few years. And this is where it gets really interesting. And this is what I was saving for last. According to the National Association of Realtors, the Millennials, these are folks that are born between 1980 and 1985, is currently the largest home buying group. However, it is also interesting to note that Generation Z, those folks born from 1996 to the mid-2000s, is the largest population ever. This obviously is going to put puts a critical demand on the housing market, which in turn can only continue to secure the continued appreciation value of real estate. I know that we're going through a period here that is uncomfortable and creates fear and anxiety and worry, but slowing appreciation is still appreciation. Although slower, it may also be better and maybe even healthier. At least it's not going to be depreciating like my stock portfolio. But anyway, overall, the real estate market looks like it will continue to grow and remain strong for the foreseeable future, as long as demand remains high, and there are all of those indicators that it will, and inventory doesn't outpace the demand, which will, with the current population growth, it appears as if it will be difficult to do. We will continue to have appreciation in the market. So I'm confident that by not buying today, you stand to lose a lot more tomorrow. So what have we learned here? That even during a recession, real estate is still a sound investment. Homes will still appreciate during a recession. Mortgage rates often go down. Buyers will have the chance to refinance their mortgages in the future when mortgage rates come down, while renters can almost always count on rents going up each year. I see no indication of a housing bubble, and I still see us in more of a housing boom. Because of the millennials are already in the market, and actually those older millennials are starting to look for their first upgrade. Generation Z is the largest of the 7 generational groups and is just now starting to also enter the market. This all will continue the housing demand and facilitate continued appreciation. So the moral of the story? Save your money, kids. Please hit that subscribe button. I have new content coming out each week to help you become the best buyer and seller of real estate that you can be, so you can make the best decisions for yourself and your family. I hope this information was helpful to you, and if you are interested in selling, click the link to receive my free home seller's guide. There is a lot of good information included in there. So until next time, if you are looking to sell, good luck with your sale. And if you're looking to buy, then happy house hunting.